Hi, this is a video on how to put up a rolled wire fence. A bit on planning. You'll need some supplies. It's actually a pretty affordable option. I was happy to find out. A few things that you need for sure. You're gonna need your post. There's two types, so let me show you. This one is the less heavy duty type. It's thinner. It's made out of like a pressed metal. There's also a more heavy duty type you can get. See this one? This is the heavier duty type. They're both fairly affordable actually. I think I went with the thinner one, and I just happened to have some of the more heavy duty ones that I think will be good for the corners. But the thinner ones were around $6 a piece, and the more heavy duty ones were not much more than that, like a few dollars. I don't remember exactly. The other two things you need for sure are your roll of wire. And I'll show you the one I got. So here we are. These ones were around $40 a piece for 50 feet. So I went with 100 feet and ended up spending under $100. So that is really nice. The last thing you'll need is fence ties or baling wire cut into sections. Fence ties is basically just cut wire. Things that aren't necessary, but I'd recommend: gloves, and then a bit on planning, especially if you are smaller, with a frame with smaller hands, don't weigh as much. Choosing to put your fence in the spring is a good idea because the ground is much softer. So I'm going to show you, I'm putting them in with this fence driver. I borrowed it from a brother-in-law. I don't know how much they cost, but it makes it a lot easier. You can also use a sledgehammer. I'm going to try to set up the camera and show you how you can use the fence driver to put in your stakes. It might actually be called a stake driver. But let me get set up for you. So here's the fence ties I got. They're only a couple dollars. I don't know if these are really necessary. You could also use just heavier gauge wire. Like I would say 14 to 12 gauge is probably what you would want. A couple other notes. Pliers is going to make it a lot easier attaching your fence with your wire. And if you are using just a spool wire, I would cut it in advance, just to make things go faster once you get going. I don't know if I noted earlier, but you want to try to get your fence in a straight line so it's not all zigzaggy. And I did this by attaching a rope with a magnet at one end and just pulling it tight and putting my stakes along that about 6 feet apart. So now I'm going to try to attach my rolled fence to my stakes. This is the first time I've ever done this, so let's see how it goes.
What's the other one? What's the other one?
Some more. So it seems to me like the best way is to hook it as you go along. At first I was going to try to unroll the whole thing and then come back and hook it, but I'm just doing it a little by little. On the less heavy duty ones, there's these little hooks you can kind of hook your fence into, but you're still going to want to use your ties. And something I wanted to note, they recommended getting a foot taller stake than the fence. I got a 4-foot fence and a 5-foot stake, but I would recommend getting even taller than that. I wish it came up a bit taller so I could put it further into the ground. Some of them ended up being rather short because I put them so far down.
we same on that.
Yeah.
With the same on that. With the same on this.
And I'm gonna do 3 ties per stake. I think that'll do it.
Oh, that's all.
So I'll do it all the way across and then see how the corners go. We'll do a video on that too. Now here's the corner. We probably don't need 2 stakes. We just needed to reposition the stake a bit to get it tighter. So put the other one in. They'll probably take the other one out. And we went ahead with zip ties. I kind of had the idea when I was in the hardware store, but they recommended the fence ties. I like these much better. It was easier to get tension. We ended up taking them off and my husband pulled on the fence to get the tension and we used zip ties and it seemed a lot easier to get tension. And also, I'll show you this end. We ended up attaching the end here by sandwiching the fence between the 2 boards. I was putting the stake in and hitting something in the ground. I should have been paying attention. I don't think it was deep enough to hit the gas line, but I didn't think of the gas line when I started putting up the fence. You should probably check on things like that before you start putting up a fence. Let's see, it looks a little straighter. It's nice. I'm very happy with it. So it sounds like it's recommended to put your stakes in about 5 to 8 feet apart. So I'm doing about 7. So far it's been fairly easy. Like as long as I don't hit a tree root, it goes in pretty easily. Oh, I just push it in. I feel like I hit a root there. This all the way across and then I'll show you how to attach. So in conclusion, putting up this type of fence is pretty easy. Even I can do it. But it was even easier doing it with 2 people, getting it nice and tight and straight. So good luck with your fence project. Go for it!